Imagine this for a moment. What if your body could begin repairing itself? What if your memory could sharpen again? What if your internal defense system became so strong that disease struggled to survive? This isn't a fantasy. This is biology. Your body, right now, is designed to heal. The body is not a passive system waiting for rescue. It is an active, intelligent network designed for repair, protection, and adaptation. Every moment, beneath your awareness, billions of processes are taking place to maintain balance and restore function. Cells are constantly renewing themselves. The lining of your gut replaces itself within days. Your skin regenerates. Even your bones are continuously remodeled through a dynamic process of breakdown and rebuilding. This is not cellular ikratkoyet, is a deeply coordinated biological strategy aimed at survival and resilience. At the center of this system is the immune response, a highly sophisticated defense network that does far more than just fight infections. It identifies damaged cells, removes waste, and monitors for abnormal growth. Specialized immune cells circulate through your body, scanning for irregularities. When they detect something unusual, whether it's a virus-infected cell or a potentially cancerous mutation, they will analyze it to determine if it's something that can be treated or if it's something that should be avoided. They initiate a response designed to neutralize and remove the threat. This process is happening all the time, often without any symptoms, quietly protecting you at a microscopic level. Your brain also plays a critical role in healing. Through a property known as neuroplasticity, it has the ability to rewire and adapt based on experience, environment, and behavior. This means that even if cognitive function declines due to stress, poor sleep, or lack of stimulation, the brain retains the capacity to reorganize itself. New neural connections can form. Existing pathways can strengthen. Memory, focus, and clarity are not fixed traits. They are dynamic functions that respond to how you live each day. Hormones further regulate. This healing environment, they act as chemical messengers, coordinating everything from metabolism to sleep cycles to stress responses. When your body is in balance, hormones like cortisol, melatonin, insulin, and growth hormone follow natural rhythms that support repair. Deep sleep, for example, is when growth hormone is released in higher amounts, stimulating tissue repair and cellular regeneration. Disrupt that sleep, and you interrupt one of the most powerful healing windows your body has. Another essential component is inflammation, which is often misunderstood. In its acute form, inflammation is a protective mechanism. It helps isolate injury, recruit immune cells, and initiate repair. If you cut your skin or catch an infection, inflammation is part of the reason you heal. The problem arises when this process becomes chronic, when the body is exposed to constant stressors like poor nutrition, toxins, or ongoing psychological stress. In that state, the same mechanism that once protected you begins to cause damage. But even then, the body is not broken, it is responding to signals. What's remarkable is that these systems are not isolated, they are interconnected. Your nervous system communicates with your immune system. Your gut influences your brain. Your sleep affects your hormones, which in turn influence inflammation and cellular repair. This means that small changes in one area can create ripple effects throughout the entire system. Improving sleep can enhance immune function. Reducing stress can lower inflammation. Nourishing your body properly can support every cell's ability to function and recover. The body is constantly interpreting signals from your environment and your behavior. It adjusts accordingly. If the signals it receives are chaotic, irregular sleep, processed food, high stress, it shifts into a defensive mode, prioritizing short-term survival over long-term repair. But when the signals are consistent and supportive, the body reallocates resources toward healing, regeneration, and optimization. This is not something you have to force. It is something you allow by creating the right conditions. Even at the genetic level, your body is not as fixed as once believed. Gene expression can be influenced by lifestyle factors. Certain genes can be turned on or off depending on how you live. This field, often referred to as epigenetics, reinforces the idea that your biology is responsive, not rigid. You are not simply a product of your genes, you are also a product of your daily choices, your environment, and your habits. All of this points to a single, powerful reality. The body is built to heal, adapt, and survive. Not perfectly and not infinitely, but far more effectively than most people realize. The challenge is not that the system doesn't work, the challenge is that modern life often interferes with the signals it needs to function at its best. Inflammation is one of the most powerful and essential processes in the human body, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. In its natural state, inflammation is protective. It is the body's immediate response to injury, infection, or threat. When you cut your skin, twist an ankle, or encounter a virus, inflammation is activated to isolate the problem, recruit immune cells, and begin the healing process. This type of acute inflammation is short-term, targeted, and necessary for survival. Without it, even minor injuries could become life-threatening. The problem begins when inflammation does not turn off. Instead of resolving after the threat is neutralized, it remains active at a low level throughout the body. This is what is known as chronic inflammation, and it operates silently, often without obvious symptoms in the early stages. Over time, however, it begins to interfere with normal cellular function. It disrupts communication between cells, damages healthy tissue, and creates an internal environment that supports the development of disease. One of the key drivers of chronic inflammation is modern lifestyle. Highly processed foods, especially those rich in refined sugars and unhealthy fats, can trigger inflammatory pathways. When these foods are consumed regularly, the body is placed in a constant state of metabolic stress. Blood sugar spikes, insulin levels fluctuate, and inflammatory markers increase. This does not happen overnight, but with repetition, the effect compounds. Lack of sleep is another major contributor. During deep sleep, the body carries out critical repair processes, including the regulation of immune function and the reduction of inflammatory signals. When sleep is consistently disrupted or shortened, the body loses its ability to properly reset. Stress hormones remain elevated, and inflammation begins to rise. Over time, this creates a cycle where poor sleep leads to inflammation, and inflammation further disrupts sleep. Chronic psychological stress also plays a significant role. When the brain perceives ongoing stress, it activates the release of stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. While these hormones are useful in short bursts, prolonged exposure alters immune function and promotes inflammation. The body begins to interpret everyday experiences as threats, maintaining a heightened state of alertness that gradually wears down its systems. Environmental factors add another layer. Exposure to pollutants, toxins, and even sedentary behavior contributes to inflammatory load. A lack of movement slows circulation and reduces the body's ability to efficiently remove waste products. Over time, this can lead to the accumulation of inflammatory compounds within tissues. The body becomes less efficient at clearing what it no longer needs. What makes chronic inflammation particularly concerning is its connection to a wide range of diseases. It has been linked to cardiovascular conditions, where inflammation contributes to the buildup of plaque in arteries. It plays a role in neurodegenerative disorders, where inflammatory processes affect brain cells and cognitive function. It is associated with metabolic conditions such as insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Even in the context of cancer, chronic inflammation can create an environment that supports abnormal cell growth and reduces the body's ability to eliminate those cells effectively. At the cellular level, chronic inflammation alters the way cells behave. It can damage mitochondria, the energy-producing structures within cells, leading to fatigue and reduced function. It can affect DNA integrity, increasing the likelihood of mutations. It interferes with signaling pathways, making it harder for the body to maintain balance. Over time, these small disruptions accumulate, eventually manifesting as symptoms and diagnosable conditions. Despite its complexity, chronic inflammation is not an irreversible state. The body is constantly responding to inputs, and when those inputs change, the inflammatory response can shift, reducing inflammatory triggers, supporting recovery processes, and restoring balance allows the body to move away from this constant state of activation. The same system that can drive disease when overstimulated can also support healing when properly regulated. Health is not determined by a single decision or a short burst of motivation. It is shaped quietly and consistently by what you do every day. The body responds to patterns, not occasional efforts. Each habit you repeat sends signals to your biology, guiding it either toward balance and repair or toward stress and dysfunction. Over time, these signals accumulate, influencing how your cells function, how your brain performs, and how resilient your body becomes in the face of challenges. Sleep is one of the most powerful regulators of this process. When you sleep deeply and consistently, your body enters a state where repair accelerates. Hormones that support recovery are released, the brain clears metabolic waste, and the immune system recalibrates. When sleep is irregular or insufficient, this entire system is disrupted. Cognitive performance declines, inflammation increases, and the body begins to operate in a state of partial recovery, never fully restoring itself before the next day begins. Nutrition acts as another continuous input, directly affecting cellular health. Every meal provides information, not just calories. Whole, nutrient-dense foods supply the vitamins, minerals, and compounds your body uses to maintain structure and function. In contrast, highly processed foods can create metabolic strain, leading to fluctuations in blood sugar and increased inflammatory responses. Over time, these repeated dietary choices influence energy levels, mental clarity, and long-term disease risk. Movement is equally essential, not as an isolated workout, but as a regular part of daily life. The human body is designed to move frequently. Physical activity supports circulation, allowing oxygen and nutrients to reach tissues more efficiently while helping remove waste products. It also improves insulin sensitivity, supports cardiovascular health, and enhances brain function. When movement is absent, these systems begin to slow down, and the body becomes less efficient in maintaining its internal balance. Sunlight exposure plays a subtle but important role. Natural light helps regulate your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that controls sleep-wake cycles, hormone release, and energy levels. It also supports the production of vitamin D, which is involved in immune function, bone health, and inflammation regulation. Limited exposure to natural light can disrupt these processes, leading to imbalances that affect both physical and mental well-being. Stress management is another critical factor. The body is equipped to handle short-term stress, but when stress becomes constant, it begins to alter physiology. Elevated stress hormones can interfere with sleep, digestion, immune function. They can also increase inflammation and affect mood and cognitive performance. Developing ways to regulate stress through breathing, mindfulness, or simply creating moments of recovery helps bring the nervous system back into balance. Hydration, often overlooked, is fundamental to nearly every function in the body. Water supports circulation, temperature regulation, nutrient transport, and the removal of waste. Even mild dehydration can affect energy levels, concentration, and physical performance. Maintaining consistent hydration ensures that these processes continue to operate efficiently. What makes daily habits so powerful is their cumulative effect. A single night of poor sleep or an unhealthy meal will not define your health, but repeated over weeks, months, and years. These patterns shape your internal environment. The body adapts to what it experiences most frequently. If it consistently receives signals of stress, it becomes better at surviving under stress, but less capable of repair. If it receives signals of support, it becomes more efficient at healing and maintaining balance. This adaptability extends to the brain as well. Repeated behaviors strengthen neural pathways, making certain actions more automatic over time. Healthy habits, once established, require less effort to maintain, while unhealthy patterns can become deeply ingrained if left unchecked. The process works in both directions, reinforcing whatever is practiced most often. The future of your health is not decided all at once. It is built gradually through small, consistent actions. Each choice contributes to a larger pattern, and that pattern ultimately determines how your body functions, how your mind performs, and how well you age.